Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the next video of the instrument flying series. In this video, what we'll be learning are course reversals. So again, just like we did in radial interceptions, similarly, first video will be the theory part, and in the subsequent video to this, you will learn that how you are supposed to execute course reversals, how you are supposed to apply what you have learned in this video, and the mode of application and the method of application you will learn in the next video. So let's move ahead with the topic. Now, as the name suggests, course reversals. Course is a desired track that we are following, and whenever we want to make a reversal of the course, that means whenever we want to make a 180, as we call in the normal language, that whenever we are going outbound on a course and we want to reverse it, that means we want to come inbound on the same radial, but the course will change, the course will become 180. This is what we refer to as course reversals. Let's just say you are going outbound on radial 030. If you are going outbound on radial 030 and you want to come inbound on radial 030 again, there are certain specified procedures with which you actually execute these reversals. And all the application, the radial interception, the course reversal and the DME arcs that we will be learning, these are all small parts which are all the components of an approach that you make, a VOR or ILS approach, any instrument approach you make. These small parts we are learning initially, and then after, once we are thorough with these concepts, then the next part we will move is how we are supposed to execute the approaches, which are a combination of all three: radial interception, making course reversals and making DME arcs. So as you now know what is the importance of course reversals, so now there are basically three methods with which you can execute a course reversal. The first one is what we call a procedure turn. A procedure turn, or the another name that is given is 45-180. The next one is your base turn, which is 80-60, and the last one is your teardrop, which is 30-10. So essentially a base turn, which is 80-60, it is one of the procedures that we learn, but essentially it is not an instrument flying procedure that is used while making approaches, because the reason being that there is no use of timer required to execute this procedure. That's why it is not a designated instrument flying procedure. Now, before moving forward with the execution and learning the course reversals, the two checks that you need to remember: the hat checks and the T checks, or the 5 T checks. The hat checks and the T checks are made to ensure that you make no mistake while you're executing these course reversals. When you execute these checks, then it ensures, or it actually reduces the probability of you executing the procedure inappropriately. Now in the hat checks, H stands for heading, A stands for altitude, T stands for timer. And the 5 T's, the first T stands for twist, course, second is turn, throttle, timer and torque. So whenever you are executing your hat checks, first thing that you do when you execute your hat checks, generally you will be executing your hat checks before 2 nautical miles before your desired turn, and the T checks that you will execute is 1 nautical mile before your desired turn. What these 2 nautical mile and 1 nautical mile means, once you see the simulator video, it will start to make much more sense, and you will know that how you are supposed to execute hat checks and T checks. And we'll apply these hat and T checks while we are learning all three procedures. So let's move on with the first one, which is the most popular course reversal, known as the procedure turn. So procedure turn is also designated as a 45-180 turn. How you are supposed to execute this turn is, let's just take an example that you are going with respect to station. This is your radial, you are going outbound on radial 090. Now you want to make a procedure turn. The procedure turn says that you proceed on your heading outbound, and whenever you want to initiate a procedure turn, you take a 45 degrees deviation to the right or the left, either side, whichever side you want to execute the procedure turn. 45 degrees you fly for 45 seconds, then you make a 180. That means you initiate a rate 1 turn towards the opposite direction of the turn in which you turned earlier. Let's just say that you initiated a procedure turn towards the right in this case. So the next 180 turn that I'll be making will be towards my left. Now, what you do is, let's just say now. So currently my course is 090. If I go, currently my course is 090 and my heading is 090. So what I'll do is, I'll turn right 45 degrees. That means I'll turn right to heading 135. I'll proceed for 45 seconds, then I'll make a 180 and my next heading will be 315. Then I'll proceed on heading 315 till the time I am aligned with the radial that I want to, till I am aligned with the radial which I was earlier on. So I'll come and join like this. So this is basically your procedure turn. My drawing is not that good, but essentially it will look something like this. This is the way a procedure turn you will actually execute a procedure turn. You proceed on a heading, you turn right 45 degrees, make a 180 and then intercept the radial inbound. Now for an example that I was executing a procedure turn at, let's just say 15 nautical miles from the station. So I am supposed to do my T checks at 14 nautical miles and my hat checks at 13 nautical miles. 13 nautical miles, my hat checks will be like, whenever I'll reach 13 nautical miles, I'll execute my hat checks, which will be, my next heading to fly will be 135, altitude, whichever altitude which I want to maintain, altitude set, timer on standby. You just press the timer knob and you put that to standby. Then once you reach your desired distance, you reach 14 nautical miles and you do your T checks. In the T checks, what you are supposed to do is you will reverse your course. Initially your course was 090, then what you will do is make your course 270. So T checks mein the first T is twist. Twist will be, you will twist your course knob to the desired course that you want to follow, which will be 270 now. Then the turn call out will be, my next turn will be towards my right to heading 135. Throttle is set, whichever position, if you are cruising, climbing, throttle set. Timer on standby. Torque will be executing a procedure turn towards my right at 15 nautical miles. These will be the call outs for you. And then once you reach 15 nautical miles, you turn right. You turn right, and when you reach heading 135, you will start your timer for 45 seconds. Once you start your timer for 45 seconds, as soon as you reach 45 seconds, you will initiate your turn towards the left to the desired heading, which will be 315. So now when you will be following heading 135, after 20 seconds, you are again supposed to execute hat checks, that the next heading to follow will be this, timer I am watching and altitude is set. These will be your callouts. Well, in theory, we can see that this is the case when there are no winds. But in case of winds, how you're supposed to apply correction? See, the winds always have components in two planes. The first is either you'll have a headwind or tailwind, or either you'll have a crosswind from the right or crosswind from the left. So the wind vector will always be divided into these two planes. So for the crosswind, the corrections are made towards your heading, which you will see in the simulator sessions, that how you are supposed to execute the heading corrections. But for the headwinds and tailwinds, you are supposed to apply corrections in the time that you have set in your timer. So let's just say that you want to follow your 45 degrees angle correction course for 45 seconds. Now, the rule says that if you are having a headwind, for every 1 knot of headwind, you will add 1 second to your time. So let's just say you are having a 14 knots headwind. So the timer, you will add 14 seconds to it, which will give you 59 seconds. So now you will initiate your turn, that is 180, that you are supposed to initiate at 59 seconds if you are having 14 knots of crosswind. Similarly, in tailwinds, the opposite will happen. For every 1 knot of tailwind, you will subtract 1 second from your time. So let's just say you were having 10 knots of tailwind. So in case you were having 10 knots of tailwind on that specific heading, you will have to remove 10 seconds from your desired time. So that means you will initiate your turn at 35 seconds. So this will be the wind correction that you apply for headwind and tailwind. The wind correction that you need to apply for your crosswinds, you will see in the simulator sessions that how you are supposed to execute it. And now we'll move to the second course reversal, which is the base turn, or which we call as the 80 to 60 degree turn. So in this, what you're supposed to do is, let's just say again, take the same example that you are outbound on a radial of 090 from the station. To execute a 80 to 60 turn, you don't require the assistance of timer, as we said earlier. Now, so to execute a 80 to 60 turn, what you do is, once you reach your desired distance from which you want to commence your turn, you give a heading correction of either to the left side or to the right side, whichever side you want to turn to, of 80 degrees. So let's just say if we are turning, in this case to the left. So the next heading that we will follow is 010. So rather than following the heading 010, in this procedure, what we do is we initiate a rate 1 turn towards the desired heading. And as soon as you hit or you reach the desired heading, you start as soon as you will reach your desired heading, in this case which will be 010, you will initiate again the turn to the opposite side to which you initially turned to. That means in this case we initially turned to left, so we will now initiate a turn towards our right. And this constant turn, rate 1 turn, if we are properly making rate 1 turns, what will happen is, once you reach this heading, you will perfectly making this rate 1 turn align with your radial and you will intercept it. So how does a base turn look like? The base turn will look something like this. You will continuously be turning to your desired heading once you reach that heading, and you will come back. So hat checks for a base turn, what would the hat checks be? In this case, we would have 2 nautical miles before our turn. We would have said heading, next heading to follow is 010. We will set our heading back to 010. Altitude set, timer not required. The T checks that you will execute is, twist the course knob to 270, turn towards our left, heading 010, timer not required, throttle set, torque. We'll be initiating a base turn or 80 to 60 towards our left at 15 nautical miles or whichever the distance may be. So in the base turn, as there is no requirement of a timer, again there's no need to apply headwind or tailwind corrections in this case. So now we'll move on to the third procedure, which is known as the teardrop, aka the 30 to 10. So in the 30 to 10 turn, how you're supposed to execute it is the initial turn, as the 30 says, initial turn will be either left or right towards 30 degree from your present course. So let's again, we'll take the same example. You are going outbound on radial 090 and you want to execute a teardrop turn towards your right, or a 30 to 10 towards your right. So once you reach your desired distance, what you will do is, you will turn right by 30 degrees. In this case, the heading will be 120. You will turn to heading 120. Once you reach heading 120, you will start your timer and follow this course for 1 minute. You will follow this course for 1 minute. As soon as the timer reaches 1 minute, now again apply the headwind and tailwind corrections in this, as we have learned. As soon as the timer hits 1 minute, you will again initiate the turn towards the opposite side to the initial turn. Remember, in all course reversals, the subsequent turn will always be in the opposite direction of the initial turn. Again, what I'll do is, again I'll initiate a rate 1 turn towards my left to directly intercept my radial inbound or directly follow the course 270 inbound. So again, we'll see an example. How does our teardrop turn look like? We move out, we turn right or left 30 degrees, then we make a teardrop like this and we intercept the course inbound. So the hat checks and the T checks, this is something that you will do by your own. Try to figure out what the hat checks and T checks will be for the teardrop turn, so that you will know. If you are getting confused with anything, take reference from the things that we, from the checks, the hat checks and the T checks that we did for the base turn and for the procedure turn. You do it by yourself so that you know how to do the hat checks and the T checks. So course reversals are basically just like this. You want to go back to your ex. You're going out from her, and now your heart changed and now you want to go back to her. So these are the 3 ways how you can turn your plane directly to land at your girlfriend's heart. Now in the sim video, we'll see how you are supposed to execute this. This will be all for this video. This is Animesh Sanyal signing off. Bye bye.